hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance that's bit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as a judge.
Hello everyone, welcome to Shortbangers. This is episode 92. I'm Matty, with Colin and John with me tonight. Colin and John, we've just spent the last hour and a bit listening to folks' moans. Are you feeling better or worse as a result?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I think some folks share the same frustrations that I do, and it's good to feel that I'm not alone.
Good. Colin, what about you?
Oh, that's it. Does make me feel happier, like, because I sometimes get called a moaning bastard. So to know that other people agree with me makes me feel a bit good about it.
Aye, I think it's effective like therapy for folk, isn't it? Like we're just obviously providing our service here. Right, we'll get right into it then. Dave Graham, people waving at the end of the calls, Zoom calls and that.
Surely that doesn't happen.
I've seen it.
I probably have
no,
at some
that's
point
like
given a wee 2 years later. No, not like I'm on a fucking game show.
see that.
Hey, see you later.
See the
I
big
probably
wave.
have it at
I
some
think
point.
the big wave is like clapping when you land in a Ryanair flight or any flight
Aye.
for that matter. Like maybe just like the wee sort of like catch you. Well, that seems reasonable, but fucking like that. Fuck off. That's like, what was the name of that woman? The woman down south, in, like, the town hall.
Aye.
No. I think I felt better knowing that wasn't in my
See,
tiny
you're gonna
existence.
Next Zoom call you're on, John.
Aye.
Just right, bye then.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi.
We'll do it first call tomorrow, right?
Sorry, you're on mute.
See the clapping when a plane lands? That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No, see that I haven't been on a plane for ages right enough, but
Have you ever been
however
in
many
the
times it's
cinema
still
when someone is applauded at the end of a movie?
Phantom Menace, ironically.
You
So we-
fucking Star Wars nerds, you.
What's
that all about?
I never did it. It was at the premiere at Fountain Park. I was sitting next to Lane C. Smith. For off I've seen this, but is that her name? Lane Smith. Lane C. Smith.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Smith.
And so it was a premiere, and actually I had done this thing for my work at the time where me and this other boy had tried to go around the different call centres in Britain without paying for any transport. So we'd been on the road for 3 days, kind of kipping on floors and things like that. I was fucking knackered. I got home that afternoon and I had to go out to the cinema, and I was kind of tempted to just sack it because it was a premiere and we did the tickets for it. I was like, I'm going to go. But folk clapped at the end of that. I didn't like it was a point clapping at the cinema. Nobody could hear you. Like, you show your appreciation when you're clapping.
Like,
out,
it's
like you get
fucking
in football. But,
George Lucas in the cinema, like, fuck off.
nah, he wasn't there. That was weird. Why would you clap at the cinema? But,
Funnily enough, my mate McBee managed to win us tickets to go see I think it was the third Batman movie, if I remember right. I think he won tickets off like fourth one or something. So we were at the premiere. It was at the IMAX at Fountain Park, and I'm sure if I remember rightly, folk had an awkward applause at the end of that. Like, it was like 2 or 3 people maybe dotted about the room expecting other people to join in. It was just like folk looking a bit like, the fuck you doing?
That's fucking mental.
No. Right, 150k to Harlan Hill. Positive message tweets on my timeline. Just reminds me that I'm a negative Nancy. Take your puss boot pish somewhere else. I want my swirling pit of hell Twitter back. Hashtag Raji's assemble. I'm not a big fan of the positive message tweets and that.
It's the ones with like a picture where it's got the positive, like frame of mind thing, or the quote attributed to somebody that might or might not have said something 20 years ago. And that.
Do you know, maybe that's something we should start doing, is start just making up quotes and attributing them to folk.
Oh shit, that's brilliant.
We could just set up a Twitter account specifically for it. So Colin, I can't do on Twitter anymore, but John, that definitely sounds like a project for us.
Aye.
That we could just do.
I'm trying to think of who I can attribute. Sharks are basically submarines with teeth to.
Gandhi. Einstein.
I need to. Oh fuck! Just while you're talking, me and Liam off down the slope got chatting about fucking inspirational shit on Twitter and that. Oh no, he was talking about Instagram, and I was telling him about this time that I called out someone for work about a meme that they'd shared, and it was a woman for work. It was on Facebook, and she just shared this fucking inspirational shit constantly, and sometimes I'll go and have a look and see whether that the person actually said that thing. And on this occasion, I didn't have to. And the person, so the quote is, "No girl will choose a six-pack over 6 cars, so stop going to the gym and go to work." And the picture in the background is Robert fucking Mugabe. I just about fucking died.
Right. We need to make an industry of this, John. This is right. We'll take that offline.
The inspirational
corporate
quotes thing
speak, eh?
is like it's such a fucking.
Aye.
That I just hate. Like you just see it and you go, oh, do you really believe that?
Yeah.
Takes me on that to inspire me.
Ross McH said idiots that break at every bend on an A road, and Mel Clements folk that stop dead in front of you in a busy place. Both worthy gripes. The A road one, see, like if you didn't ken the road though, like especially some country roads, you don't ken if you're coming into a sharp bend or no. I think it's different if you know a road compared to when you didn't know one.
I was on an aero tonight coming back and forth to the gym, and there was a couple of bits where there was a bit in the water. It wasn't there normally, so I think the first couple of times that I drove that road, because I wasn't familiar with it, I probably braked a bit more than I normally would. And tonight I braked a wee bit more than I normally would. That was because basically the road was fucking littered with trees and water, and I'm sure there was like, it looked like, you seen the film Twister? You know, it's got like
Yeah.
the cow like floating about in there. It looked like that had basically come through this road at one point.
I was
shit all over the
disappointed in
place.
that film. I thought it was going to be about Ice Lolly, but it wasn't. It's like the time I tried to watch the fucking Green Mile, thought it was about a bus line. Nah, fucking ruined it for me. Oh, Woodsy these Jay wanted to see the Sixth Sense. I said, nah, want to see the first 5. Otherwise, it will ruin it.
That's quite funny.
Um,
What I found funnier was how you looked up and looked for a reaction like there was going to be like a dozen folk or something at you, and it's just me and Colin.
Neil Renton queues at bus stops, either the you go first, no you go first brigade, or folk who just try and skip the queue. That's queues in general, not just at bus stops.
I hate you.
Tell you one thing, right? I went to Aldi earlier on, and I was only getting like 4 or 5 things. And you've not been in Aldi yet, Colin, have you?
Well, I went to one before
Right.
Christmas. The one down at near Gilmerton, Morden sort of way. Nipton. Is that an Aldi there, or is that a Lidl? One of them. I was in one of them.
Anyway, right?
So I've been. Do you want to tell your story? You want me to tell you about what time you got? Because it's
No,
a shop. That was it.
So they do this thing that if the queues are busy at the tills, they open up another till, right? So they try to get everybody through as quick as fuck. Aldi, whenever you go in, if you've only got a few items and somebody's loading up the trolley, they always say to you, just you go first. Same scenario in Tesco. Nobody's ever said to me in Tesco, just you go first, mate. Is that all you've got? Aye, just jump ahead of us. Aldi's, every time somebody will go, just you go. We'll look a couple of things there, pal, when you go.
Aye.
So that's another tick for Aldi.
Aye.
Anyway, that was
The clientele.
Aye.
Clientele
Nice
big
people.
tick.
You wouldn't need your Gatling gun. In Aldi.
That'll be because they're more. That'll be though. Not because they're more working class than the wannabe middle class that are in the Tesco.
Aye, folk think they're entitled to.
Aye.
Well, aye. Jake Gapper, pensioners who have all week to use the bank stroke post office, who decide Saturday half day open is the ideal time to carry out the transactions.
Yep.
That's fair.
So they came on. I was just thinking there was one earlier there when you were talking about there's one of the first ones about the queue, getting the phone out for the COVID thing. We'll see if you go to the cash line and somebody goes and they get the cards out and they've got other fucking cards and they put in their card and the PIN number and they get the balance and they go, all right, I can draw money out. And they get the money out, and the money comes in, and they put the other card in, and they go through the whole fucking rigmarole again. It's almost like, no, mate, one transaction, back to the back of the queue.
One card.
I'm on
per
board with that
transaction.
as well.
I think any form of queuing where people slow down the operation, so it could be the self checkout, it could be the tickets at the station, it could be whatever it is. If you aren't prepared and ready to complete that transaction fluidly, get to fuck.
Step aside. Let the
Aye.
experts through.
Yeah, aye.
Aye, but it's the same when you go in, like between Tesco again, but any supermarket you go in, and they get to the queue to pay, and then the purse comes out, and I say purse because it is generally the female that does it, and you go, you knew you were buying this stuff, like you fucking stacked it up on that thing, but you still never got your purse and your card out until you got to the front. Oh, wait a minute, I might have some vouchers in here. You've just been in the whole fucking shop, and you've not thought about it till you're too late.
Aye. Bastards.
Could go on and on and on with these.
Aye. Ian Borge, the expression just about did enough there when he scored. That's an happy one. It's, oh, he just about saved that. Fucking did save it. Aye.
So,
I wonder how that one started, eh? Because it's common now.
I
The
think-
commentators say it a lot. It's like kind of one of the cliches now, but at some point somebody must have said it and folk just let it go. They never went, what are you talking about? You did save it.
It's maybe that thing where I can't remember what we were describing before about like my co-host, as my co-host alluded
Alluded
to
to.
something like it's maybe just trying to sound more intelligent than it actually requires. Like he saved it. Like
Aye.
he scored. Like he won the ball. Why are we not saying what is actually happening? What is going on?
It's their one job as a commentator as well, isn't it? Like,
should be-
to
I was
describe
thinking
what's
about this.
happening. They shouldn't be describing it wrong.
What I was
See, when
thinking
you say-
originally, sorry, Colin, was that
No,
maybe commentators that use shite like that should go to the same place as like the Andy Grays and the Richard Keys of the world. Like, just get fucking fired in disgrace. Or if you can't do that, they should maybe have like commentator compliance officers that can mark them down and get them off the telly and doing like
Aye.
third division games, so I don't have to listen to their shit. Because football commentators are fucking torture at the best of times. Never mind when they're just making up words, making up expressions for the sake of it.
See, when they say it though, do you think like he just about done enough there? Is it like almost a euphemism for he made a fucking meal of it? He got there in the end, but he made it look
Aye.
fucking hard. Is
Well,
that
he had
what they
to-
mean?
Aye, he had to really try to do it or something like that.
Aye.
But, aye, or he just saved it.
Probably.
He's just scored that. They've
He's
just added
fucking
an
lucky.
extra superfluous word. Right, Tony Swanson, Edinburgh parking and bustling charges. Soon going to step out the house and they'll issue a fine using your Ring doorbell. I try not to take the car into Edinburgh now for that very reason. Parking's fucking ridiculous. If you can find a parking space in Edinburgh, it's brutal. But the price is fucking unreal.
It's dear,
Ali, be folk dithering in the street during the 8 to 9:30 and 4 to 6 rush hours. If you're just out for a saunter, go to the park. That's not even driving
Yeah.
That's folk walking. Folk walking in
it's
rush
that
hour
bad
getting
then.
in the road.
It's no bad, bro. Like you've been in London and rush
Aye,
Like, fucking hell.
you get
It's like-
one lesson, get out of the fucking way once, and
Aye.
that's it.
I was staying in a hotel near Tower of London probably just before lockdown 2 years ago, and I was doing there. And genuinely, when you were walking into the hotel at night or out in the morning, it was like stepping onto try to step onto an elevator or do the skipping thing. You had to find a gap and go for it and just go for it. Like there was
Aye.
no pissing about because it was right at the tube and the train station as well. So there was just masses going both ways. So you were just like, fucking hell.
You
Getting
don't
your
take
ticket
chances.
Through the barriers in the tube stations is mental as well. Like there's just no stopping whatsoever. Like I think that Waverley's bad at times, but fuck me.
If you're thinking, what one am I getting? Is it, what side do I need to go on? That's like,
Oh,
you just
get
see
out
folk
my
looking
way.
and say, "Where's this Quinto Cameron's gone?" That's what they were thinking. Like, fucking. There's one every 2 minutes as well, eh? But everybody's in a hurry to get the first one. The first one, you just get there in 2 minutes, man.
Right, we've got a few for Ray here. Ray's just pretty much taking this therapy idea literally here, so I'll read them out. People not thanking you for letting them out of a junction. People thanking you by raising a single finger from the steering wheel instead of waving politely. They feel that they're above being polite and feel superior to the polite driver. Airport queuing and snakes. Being asked if I've packed my bag myself at check-in. Putting liquids into wee plastic bags. Being restricted to 30ml for said liquid. Middle seats on aircraft. Cunts at reclined seats on aircraft in capital letters. Absolute scum. Selfish, ignorant pigs. I'm only starting. People in queues who have not already got their money or cards out by the time they get to the till. People with loyalty cards. Pricks. People who have a wee chat about with the cashier when there's a queue. Queues. Buses. Public transport, private hire drivers, people speaking loudly on public transport into their phones, particularly if it's business chat, look at how important I am type shit, people using speakerphone in public, people holding a phone on speakerphone whilst driving, because that'll make it safe, people being sat in the pub or bus or wherever, fuck off, you're sitting, the new Rangers, I think that's him, oh no, people,
People, aye, if you can.
people, can't argue with any of them, right? To be
That's a
fair,
good-
that's a
good
proper
list.
rant,
Interesting, never say the old Rangers. Or is it just because they're dead?
I think that's taken for granted these days. So taken as read. The Hibs are here getting pestered for pointless feedback by companies. Like, hi, you used our toilets. How was your experience? Hi, you phoned us to amend your order. How was your experience? Absolute teapots. There's a lot of that these days, like surveys and
Yeah.
how were things.
Well, I've had Sky. I left. I changed my band on November or something, and Sky are just still chasing me for feedback. I gave you
hell.
feedback when you made me phone and speak to somebody about why I was leaving. So I've told you. So why are you sending me these fucking emails to ask me the same fucking question?
See, like, see if anyone ever asks me to fill something in for them. Like, generally speaking, it might be depending on what sort of mood I'm in, but I understand that there'll be some sort of net promoter score involved, and maybe they're getting scored on it, maybe their bonus will depend on it, and I'll generally go, aye, fine, like fucking 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 for most things. But actually, what is the fucking point of the net promoter score? Is it just a thing
Oh,
that exists to make companies seem better or more important
mate,
or
I feel
friendlier
happier.
than they actually are?
Matthew will
Aye,
explain it.
it's-
He'll be all over that. Eh?
Aye, it's like it's one of my things. For
Is it something you're
for work.
currently involved in?
No, at the moment.
But is it bullshit? Is it just
but-
bullshit?
Nah,
Is it
it's-
built on a
it's-
foundation
it's
of bullshit?
sort of. It's a measure of customer loyalty, right? That's how they why they do it. And obviously, the higher score you put your company ranks, and the more more likely your customers are to stay with you. Is the theory behind it. I think there's some kind of questions about it now because folk game it. That's the thing is they'll tell you what to score them, or
Hey,
they do
I had a
things like
I had a boy in the Nike outlet in Livingston basically do it for me. He said, "Oh, you'll get an email," and then I handed my phone over, and he just thought, "Aye, fine, crack on, mate." But to be fair, like the boy did actually give me brilliant service, and I would have gone back and bought loads of trainers off him.
aye.
But I don't know, just like you say, like if it's being gamed, then what purpose does it actually have anymore?
Aye, that's it. I mean, you can manipulate. Some companies are worse than others, but you'll see it. You'll get folk who ask you if you're happy before they let you go off the phone. And when you say aye, then you kind of have committed to giving them a high score. So when the survey comes through, you feel like you have to score them high because you tell them.
Yeah.
There's other ones. So you ever been in Frankie and Benny's, right? Frankie and Benny's is shite. Right? You're not a fan of Frankie and Benny's at all. When the kids were wee, they used to quite like it. They do this thing where you get as a satisfaction guarantee. They didn't tell you about the satisfaction guarantee until they've asked you, aye, was everyone all right? And Kim, when you're at a restaurant and they come in and say everyone all right, and you go, aye, Kim, whether it was shite or no, you just go, aye, because you kind of, you're not expecting great things at somewhere like Frank and Benny's. Well, then they go, there's your receipt and it's got the satisfaction guarantee, and you kind of then go and say, oh, actually, I wasn't happy because you've already told them that you are, and they would just call you out for it. So it's a total, they totally game what they're doing with it. And so you get tricked into saying it was all right and no using the guarantee. Anyway, then what we talking about net promoter score anyway, that is proper LinkedIn shite. So we'll move
Bollocks.
on. Aye. Andrew McBee said, I'll take that further, replying to Raymond. Adults who should know better than play music or videos without headphones on in public transport. Surprised I've not had a sore face after asking a few times, do we all need to listen to that? It is brutal the way I did it. I just
you
get why
told me
folk,
about that.
why folk would do that. And it's never folk with good taste in music either, is it? It's like always folk who
Yeah.
have the shittest music that want to impose it on everybody.
See the other thing as well, the phone, chatting on the phone in public. There was a for a while, and I've not been in town for a couple of years now, working that. But you'd see folk walking about with their mobile like that, talking into it on
Aye.
speakerphone.
Aye.
Why?
I think because they saw it on The Apprentice. I think that's maybe where
Oh,
it's
aye, of
popular.
course,
Got a lot
aye.
to answer for, aye.
And it's like I didn't
Yeah.
understand why they do it in The Apprentice. Is it just because it looks a bit better on TV? Because I don't think it gives better sound
So
quality.
you can hear both ends of the conversation on a TV program.
Aye.
But we didn't need to hear both ends of the conversation
No.
because I don't
Aye.
give a fuck what they're talking to somebody about.
Yeah. Aye, that's a weird thing. They do sit like this.
Walking along the street, you go,
Like that.
just put it to your fucking ear, mate.
Aye.
Like,
Aye.
but they mind that was a thing though, eh? Didn't put it to your ear because it was burning like cancer into you and that. But
Yeah.
they didn't talk about that anymore.
No,
So I
because
don't
the
know if that's not a
vaccine
thing
sort
now.
of done that.
Have you noticed as well that your phone, when you're getting like a message or anything through, it doesn't pull other devices, so you never hear that like
Aye,
coming
do
through
we
on like
do
TVs or
mine's
speakers.
used? Aye, do we
Doesn't happen.
buzzing?
I don't know if it's because we're all connected to Wi-Fi and nobody sends text messages anymore, and all our stuff
Yeah, I
comes
don't
through
know,
WhatsApp.
but it doesn't because but it used to happen a lot, and you'd be caring somebody was getting a
It would
message
happen with
through.
phone calls as well.
Aye, you'd hear it kind of announced before it actually happened because the radio frequencies would start playing up or whatever.
Is that your Doug Grill or is that your belly?
Eh? The dog.
Is that your Doug Grill? Is that
Aye.
good? I was stopping this in his belly. Oh,
He's needing it. Right, the what's this called? Actually, this Twitter account's called the best wee dog ever. And as the people squeezing 21 loaves of bread before not buying one, and me wanting to push them to the ground to grab a small Warburton's toasty loaf.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
going to squeeze the bread.
I just look at the date on the label
No.
because there'll be a couple of days behind. Usually, like if you went the day, you would see them for like the 11th, but the ones at the 9th would be on these shelves. But when they go squeezing it, just pick the best date.
Aye.
No, I've actually never seen it. I like to think I would probably call that out. Like if I was to see them doing as many as been described, like what the fuck are you doing? And I
Aye,
think
no,
the
folk do it,
shops as
aye.
well have got. I think shops probably have. I don't know if they have quite a high turnover, but generally speaking, like when you go in, maybe it's just the shops I go to, but I feel like when I go into the shops and look for bread, there's not often a hell of a lot of bread there. Like it's usually been like freshly stocked, or it's getting down towards like the sort of last 2 or 3 loaves. So there's a film actually. I don't know if any of you have seen it, Clerks, and they have someone going into like a big sort of like American style like series of fridges. And there's this
Eggs.
woman that's in and they're looking at the bottles of milk to find out which one's got like the latest date on it.
I know
What's
a
the
boy with
point?
eggs as well in Clark's. Doing the same kind of thing, like checks the eggs.
Maybe.
It's a good movie. All right, Dave Graham, getting a pint of lager and a non-lager ordered advertised glass and plastic pint glasses. So get a 10 ounce and a Heineken glass, or
Yeah.
I think if that would annoy
Does
me.
that,
Doesn't it massively bother me? Like, I've got a mate that works in Heineken, and it's a thing though. It's like called the Glass Act or something. So if they're in a boozer and they see a Moretti getting poured in a non-Moretti glass, or a Heineken in a non-Heineken, or well, any
Yeah.
other ones you want to fucking name, they can go and grass it up when they go back, or they can compliment them for doing it because they're selling their stuff and they might sell it in the glass because they design the glass to suit the beer. Like
Aye.
so the Moretti one's like a sort of schooner sort of type, and it's for to help the bubbles in the air and all this scientific shit. So there is a thing. It is a thing. If you got a Guinness in a non-Guinness glass, so it doesn't look right, eh? If they just punt it into a John Smith glass or something.
I was thinking
Plastic.
into like a Stella Artois Chalice.
The plastic glasses, why they're not called plastics for a start, right? But they're the worst, and I find it almost impossible. So I could drink take a big mouthful of a pint glass, and take it away from my mouth, and it'd be totally clean. With a plastic cup, there's always like a risk of like, should you get like a bit of dribble coming?
Yeah.
I reckon why that happens on a plastic tumbler, but no on a a glass
Is it
one.
because the plastic tumbler they were like kind of universal, whereas like the pint glasses that we're describing are usually like taller or like there's usually some sort of unique
But
characteristic that we're describing.
any shape of glass, pint glass, I could take a drink out of and be able to kind of take it away from my mouth and no think about get like a wee bit of
Is
whatever.
it because you're thinking about it though? That's
Maybe.
it's in the head.
Is it maybe
Maybe.
because of that wee sort of lip that you get at the end?
lip, aye, it's probably
Mm.
that.
And that's like
I
a
surely
sort of
can't be
stacking
the only one
storage
that
thing.
happens to.
Looks like it because you're not acknowledging it. So maybe
Aye.
it's just you.
Fuck's sake. I need to practice drinking. Andrew McBee, out of control nose hair. Have a look and trim for fuck's sake. Dave Graham, the
Add
general
ear hair
public.
to that list, by the way.
Ear
Anyone
hair.
Go, ear, oh, get that to fuck.
Yeah.
Aye. Liam, folk that pick up or move their child when a dog comes within 10 yards of them. People that go into a baker's and go, what have you got that's hot? And people that post on social media begging for attention, and when they get it, go, nothing's wrong, hun, just Benton. And noisy eaters. The one on social media is brutal, eh? And that, are you okay? Aye.
Yeah.
Sharp then.
It's just attention seeking, eh?
Jay Caldwell, Boris Johnson. Yep.
Aye,
Quality.
that's-
Gilroy, people who press the traffic light button to cross the road when it's already been pressed.
What I hate is people pressing the traffic light button when they don't have to. There's a big fucking gap. Just go across the road. Or they press it and then they cross before the green man goes on and then it
Well,
stops with the cars.
See, that used to annoy me, right? But then
Mhm.
somebody said, you'd have to wait anyway. So if they, like, you'd have to stop. If you're driving and you're approaching that and that person waited,
Yeah.
you having to stop anyway. So
Right.
it doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't make a difference whether they wait for the light or no. They've just gone, actually, it's safe for me to cross, so I'll cross over.
Aye, but sometimes you get there and there's nobody crossing.
Aye, because they've.
So you're
they've-
like, who the fuck?
they've done it. But if they'd waited, you would have to stop there anyway.
Well,
So that's when I started.
but if they had
looked,
looked, they wouldn't need to press the button.
aye, but you get sometimes the traffic lights take ages to change when you press them because ones that go as soon as you press the button, it changes,
Goes
Right.
that way, yeah.
which are good ones. And then you have other ones you press it and you can be fucking waiting ages. And in that time, the traffic situation can change quite dramatically. That you go, actually, I could cross here quite safely.
To be honest, they're still in the cunt bucket for my point of view.
Do you ever go across the road and like as Colin describes, like I'll more often than not look for a gap rather than waiting for the lights to stop or whatever. But see if there's a bairn standing with her parent and the bairn is standing with the parent waiting to push the button or waiting for the green man to come on. I'll stand with them because I'll feel like I'm setting a bad example.
Oh, I did that as well.
It's
You have
why-
to teach them how to cross the road, like, aye.
Aye, it's like the same. Like, say if I'm behind a learner driver, I've been a learner driver and I've had someone right up my arse or is like
Yeah.
overtaking me like stupidly or whatever, and I've always thought to myself, I'm not going to be that dick. I'm just going to let them go about their lesson
Aye.
and learn how to drive. Like, I'm not going to.
Give them some space. Yeah.
Aye, I'm not going to not behave normally. But if they're going a wee bit slower, you can tell it's just like the first couple of lessons. Just give them a fucking break.
If they're going like 18 and a 20 or something else, that something
Aye, like,
irritates you like that.
like 10%
30 or
under.
40.
Oh, I've
for
just
the-
worked out how you managed to work that out. Fucking 10% of 22, so 20 less
Aye,
2 is
that's right, aye.
16 or something.
Aye, it's just basic. So it's sort of primary 7 level maths. Aye.
Owen Fredrickson said, actually, or press it when there's no traffic and cross before the green man comes up. Aye, we're right on board with
Aye,
that.
no, that's just a move. Like, that's just sort of stuff you did when it was a big push and you'd fucking run away laughing. Like, didn't do that when you're a grown up.
Yeah. Reg Thompson, Boyd, the wasp chewing pundit. He is one of the worst pundits, Chris Boyd. Fair to
Oh,
say.
aye. Plus.
I'm not sure. Is there any good pundits?
There are good pundits.
Like, Chris Boyd's
Yeah.
a bad one. Andy
Well, in
Walker
Scottish-
is a bad
in
one.
Scottish
Ricky
football.
Foster is a bad one. Who are the good ones?
Oh, and
I like
Mikey
Mikey
Stewart. Mikey Stewart's decent as a pundit. But after that, you're struggling. McFadden's no bad.
Aye, it's all right.
No bad. McCoist is probably
He
the
Didn't
best.
get,
Chris
I didn't
Sutton's
get
lovely.
the McCoy's loving. Like, I just think McCoy's a bit of
He's on Amazon Prime and doing English games and everything. He's like
Aye.
loved throughout the UK.
He's got. I think it's maybe that. So you remember when he was ending his career and he went on to question his sport, and then I think he got back involved in football again, and
And
notably,
Shag
he
Patsy
was,
Kens it in between. Like,
Aye.
like that.
and I think it's like he's become. I don't know. It's almost like he's become media darling again, but he's no Ali McCoist anymore. He's big fat Ali McCoist now.
It
He Shag
was
Patsy Kens it before or after Liam Gallagher? After,
after, I think. I think so.
Aye.
Ken, who would know, eh?
Aye.
Patsy, she gets
Aye.
it. Fucking hell. There was McCoist in the comments in the game, and I can't remember what happened. There was just like a bit of midfield play, and he just goes nice and tight. There was another one where it was. What was the question? The commentators. So they're talking about the game, so there's no commentating. He's doing the punditry, the analysis, and the presenter, says to him about staying in the moment. He says, "You ever had to tell your players to stay in the moment?" He says, "No, I have said stay in the moment, but listen to my players." Anyway, right. Darren Keenan, folk that call crisps, Chris. What the fuck is that? Folk do that as well, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever there's a period where folk wouldn't say ask, they would say, "Can I ask you a question?"
Yeah.
Oh, get fucked.
Is that
What-
not
what-
like the Americans sometimes when they're saying nuclear, they call it, I can't even get it out now. Instead
Nuclear.
they say nuclear,
but nuclear.
nuclear, aye.
And aluminium is
Yeah.
aluminum.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. But that's correct, I think. It's us that's wrong with that one, I think. I'm sure I read that somewhere. But the nuclear and whatever the other word was, that's just wrong. If you look at spelling that.
Yeah. Never trust Americans with spelling. They've got so many words like colour and stuff like that wrong. I blame Sesame Street for it. That's why I never watched Sesame Street. Never let the kids watch it either.
Did you ever hear Billy Connolly pronounce turquoise? And everyone went, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Apparently, that is the correct pronunciation. Turquoise. Aye.
Fuck that. Sarah Chalmers, people who recline their seats in the aircraft, people who chat through a film at the cinema, noisy eaters, especially at the cinema, self-service checkouts, bad parking, people that park in disabled spaces who are not disabled. Steve Brown, people that read my paper before I've read it. I'll be sitting on my desk, or it'll be sitting on my desk, and some tube box by picks it up and starts flicking through it. Really bothers me more than it should. And I know I could put it in a drawer, but why should I have to? Is it important
That's
that
a
you
weird
read your
one, eh?
paper first?
It is to me. I like reading it first, but then I was brought up in a house that I was not allowed the paper before my dad had flicked
Aye.
through it. Can even using it. I used to deliver the paper, but I used to deliver the Pink News on a Saturday night as well. So I used to walk past the news to do the rest of the round so I could read the paper as I was doing the rest of the round. And go back to my dad with the used one. You'd be like, fucking, how the fuck's it been so long? Because you can't run away to collect the papers when I'd walk past. But aye, that was the rules in the old days though.
Aye.
Nobody reads papers now, do they?
No. Green Army fans who support clubs that consistently win and win silverware, moaning about the club they support winds me up. Try getting on the Hibs roller coaster. T.G. Willis, John, if girls can join the Scouts, can they join the BBs? So is this a thing now that the girls can join
I assume so.
Scouts and presumably the Boys Brigade then as well?
I
And again,
assume they
boys
can. I don't know about the
join
brownies. Like,
the
I don't know
guides.
if boys. I would imagine they can. I don't know.
I think now
I've
they
not
just
seen
say
evidence
that
yet.
they're a girl and they'd be like, "Want to join?"
Yeah.
I think that's how it works nowadays, isn't it?
I don't know what's the
think they can.
difference between like the guides and the scouts. Are they know mostly? Do they know both earn badges for doing stuff like
Aye.
stuff like sewing and woodwork and
It's
Aye,
probably
that's the thing.
different now.
That's
I
the
think
difference there, right?
back in the day, that would have been a very obvious difference. What you get the badges for would have been for one of them. It would have been you're sewing and cleaning, and for
oh,
other
like
ones, it'd been,
homemaking and technical stuff. Aye.
Yeah.
aye,
But
it
then,
would be making
but-
fires and no telling anybody what the scout leader did.
so the two of them, rather than girls joining the scouts or boys joining the guides, do the two organisations don't need to diversify what they're teaching kids?
Aye, they would have had to. I don't care how it works. Right, well, last couple, we've still got loads to get through, so we'll just call time on this week's one. We'll carry over the other ones into next week. So, last two to get through. Ricky, people who listen to music on the bus without earphones in, we've spoke about that one. The best wee dog ever. Question for Longbangers next episode. Can you remember when you got the vasectomy, day, date, and year, and why is it memorable? No. I only care it was after my third. Not my third vasectomy, my third child. But I couldn't tell you even 2010 probably, but I couldn't tell you date or date.
No.
I say, why was it memorable? It should be memorable way because it's quite a significant thing. Somebody going and taking a knife to your boss.
I can't remember the year either. It was May. It was about May time though. I remember it was then, but I don't remember the year. Is it a knife or is it a laser burn
I
knife?
thought it was a wee
Anyways,
laser to cauterise your tubes, wasn't it?
I think it's a burn.
Actually, see, my boss have actually just
I
shot
did,
me.
I do.
I think it was that bad. Worst trips to the dentist. To say like
It was fine on the day. It was 2 or 3 days after it. I felt
Aye.
that.
After it. Right. I need to go take the dog out, get up to his bed. So we'll call a we'll call a halt to it there. Thanks very much for sending stuff in. We've probably got enough for next week as well, but we'll give you a shout on Twitter if we need more. Colin, John, thanks for your time tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We're back on Sunday with Hibs and then Longbangers on Monday. If you've not listened to last Monday's episode was decent, so go back and have a wee listen to that. In the meantime, catch you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no, you know